I was 8 when I became addicted to porn.
These women have all experienced sex-related addictions at some point in their lives.
There is not a moment in the day where I'm not thinking about
having to face extra judgment for the fact they are women.
I started masturbating when I was 12 years old. I discovered some secret that I wasn't supposed to find out.
They hope by sharing their stories, this issue will be normalised and help others. Amanda was just 8 years old when, during a play date with her best friend, she first watched porn.
She told me there was porn on the TV. I was like, I don't know what that is, girl. So she pulled it up on the computer and we watched.
Until that point, Amanda didn't even know men and women had different genitals. Having her eyes opened, Amanda wanted more.
It became a weekly thing. Whenever there was no one home, I would pull it up on my family computer.
As her addiction grew stronger, it started having a negative impact on how she viewed herself.
Shame really changed my identity. Seeing the body of these women and the makeup, it made me feel like that was what I needed to look like to find love.
It was during high school that she started seeking help for her porn addiction at a church youth group.
I started reading the Bible. That changed the way I perceived my own identity.
Amanda has taken huge strides in her healing journey. She eventually built up the courage to share her story online.
I have had some grown men in my DMs who've been like, hey, what do you do while you watch?
Despite this, it's been an overwhelmingly positive experience, especially for other women.
The majority of the feedback I have gotten from young women telling me that they felt so validated in their experiences. I want you to know that your struggle does not define you.
Also discovering porn at a young age was Erica, but as she grew up, it was no longer satisfying her needs. Sex had become an obsession.
I was raised in a conservative household in which nobody talked about sex. Masturbating, it felt good, but it also felt really bad.
Erica found that masturbation offered her an escape from emotional trauma, which stretched back to being rejected and teased at school. At times, she would watch porn for hours.
Things got a little more complicated when I started to have relationships with boys. I would still continue to watch a lot of porn, but then I started to have sex, and that became a compulsion as well.
Erica soon realized that she was addicted to sex.
The symptoms that I experienced were binging on pornography. I had sex with a lot of people, unprotected sex.
When Erica finally admitted to herself that she had a problem, she felt a huge sense of relief.
I was 30 is when I started going to sex addiction meetings. I started to see therapists to talk about this. My recovery began. I want people to take away that they are not alone if they're dealing with something similar, and that secrets can only be cured if you share them.
Finally, we meet self-described sex addict Salem.
my hyper-sexuality was the coping mechanism for anything that would go wrong in my life.
She was about 6 years old when she first learned about sex.
I started thinking about what it's going to feel like. When will I do it? From 12, it was watching porn. From 16, it was having sex.
By the time she'd turned 19, Salem had become a sex worker.
I was getting paid for sex. It became a whole thing of being bought, and I didn't want to feel like that. So most of the time after work, I'd be going and sleeping with someone else just to get that feeling of validation that I was worth more.
As she pushed her boundaries further, Salem found herself sliding down a slippery slope.
I found that the more sex I was having, the less satisfied I became, the higher my tolerance was.
This led her to seeking professional help.
I started looking for sex addiction meetings, in which I found one, and I noticed the change in myself.
Having turned her life around, Salem has some inspiring words.
I'm not going to be shamed for my addiction. Even if I do slip up, I'm able to get myself back on track and last longer the next time, and that is still progress.
I'm seen.
Are you?